It's called Good Morning. I saw this video from Barry Johns um, about hardware in 2022. It's so passe. If you don't know Barry Johns, he has a channel called Barry Johns Studio Talk. I really like him. I really like watching his videos. He's extremely knowledgeable, and I agree with him with pretty much everything that he says. So check out his channel. But I thought I will reply to that video because I have my own opinion on the topic, which is for the most part it's very similar to Barry's opinion. But then I see this topic again coming up everywhere. Audio Animals just did a reels. Do you need really hardware or not, or outboard gear? But he is looking at it from a mastering perspective, and what he says is that for mastering you definitely need it, for production, mixing you don't need it. And for the most part, there is something to that as well. But I just wanted to say that this topic is something that's been a recurring theme for a long time. So when I started this hobby, which was for the most part a hobby for me, about 15 years ago, we had the exact same conversations, okay? So there's not a whole lot of difference today, except software is becoming way better. But then I remember Dave Pensado sort of bragging that he's in the box, although he had his API 500 drag, but whatever. He was mostly working in the box, right? Making records for Mariah Carey and a lot of big stars. And that's the mixing part. But I think from a production standpoint, there are a few things not many people talk about. So when making music or when becoming creative is important, using your hands is essential, I think. So even though I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite here, but because I'm not using too much hardware, to be honest, but I play a guitar, I play bass, I had a few synths over the years, and definitely we as humans are wired to use our hands to, make music, make sounds, and to express ourselves. So it's definitely, there's that in terms of workflow when it comes to hardware. Then the other thing is hardware can achieve results faster than digital. And hear me out here. The problem I see is that many people used hardware over the years and they just don't find the same sounds, or they just cannot achieve similar results in the box. So they end up saying, yeah, in the box is not working for me. It's way worse than using analog. But for the most part, what I see the problem is they don't put enough effort into really understanding what their plugins are doing in the digital domain. They don't necessarily understand why they would need to use maybe multiple plugins to achieve the same results. So I use oftentimes 3 or 4 different compressors on one source to achieve a particular result, because you need to have the compression to raise ambience, you need compression for limiting transients. But then there's this thing when it comes to shaping the transients, where you have this immediate effect in analog. You don't necessarily have that in digital for the most part. For instance, I made this video about the Softube plugin which they made for Chandler, right? So the Zener limiter, and then they did the EQ as well, I think in cooperation with UAD initially. That's a fantastic software, and I made a quick short on YouTube comparing the real hardware, and it's very hard to A/B the two and say exactly which one is which. The only difference that's a telling sign is you have sort of a sense of more dynamics in the digital domain, which is weird, but what happens is that the plugin is not shaping the transients exactly the same way. Everything else is pretty much the same. So again, what it comes down to is, do you know exactly why you are using your plugins in a certain way, and do you know which plugins to use on which material? And that takes time. That might take years, But the same thing is true for hardware in a way, but definitely you can achieve faster results with hardware. So again, I would say you can get there 95%. And the rest is like analog summing. I still believe analog summing is superior. Or having a certain stage. You can widen your stage in digital. That's relatively easy nowadays. But to make it 3D and to have depth on the edges of the stage, that's hard, and it's way easier to get there with analog, with proper analog gear. So, and then the other thing, as I was watching Audio Animals, I realized, yeah, but like, you know, he has thousands of or tens of thousands of dollars worth of gear there. Obviously, he'll be using it, but he's working on a lot of material day by day, right? So it's way faster for him to set everything up than to fiddle around with digital. Because I still believe that even though you can achieve, I would say 95% in digital, you need to fiddle around with it, right? It's a little bit slower if you want to achieve the same results. So when it comes to producing, I think in terms of hardware, you need good monitors, you need sound treatment, if that's considered hardware, and you need a good ADDA, so like a proper interface. And that's about it. But then, yes, when it comes to, mixing or mastering, you might benefit. But I still believe this is not a must. So that's my 2 cents. I wanted to get that out, and I just wanted to focus a little bit on the workflow side of things and the tactile feeling. How you feel as an engineer or a producer makes a big difference, and I think that's why for certain people using hardware is beneficial. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like this video. And follow, because I think I will make more videos like this as well.